Welcome back to another episode of the Wrinkly Brain Podcast. I'm your host, Jason, and I'm joined by Cameron.
Hi, y'all.
And Logan.
Hello, people.
This week we're talking about the April Fools video we put out this year. This is our first time making any completely scripted content, which includes this podcast, especially a shot at a comedy video. First off, I want to apologize for missing an episode a couple weeks ago. Our recording software decided to punch multiple 2-minute holes into the recording. That doesn't sound like much, but the episode was on the short side, and it was just completely unsalvageable. The good news is we can bang our heads against the wall and try again. So, just to let you know, this is our second time talking about this topic, so we might not have quite as enthused reactions as we would have normally, or it might sound a little more scripted, so apologies in advance, but this is a really cool topic. We really enjoyed making the April Fools video, and we made sure that we got some of the best people for it. So, all of us had a pretty big role in making this video. Logan, you were primarily there for writing the script, directing, and filming, right? Is there any other roles?
No, I would say, writing and then, helping organize stuff here, day of, which...
You were an actor, too.
I mean, yeah, I moved cards around. Yeah.
You played me.
If you look really closely, some of the things that are supposed to be Cameron are me, and if you look really close, you'll notice brown arm hair instead of red arm hair.
Yeah.
Day of, I was doing, production management / directing, a little bit of both. And then, beforehand, writing, which you helped with, too.
Cameron, you were there as an actor. You did filming, and you helped get supplies for this.
Yep. As we'll talk about later, the writing was kind of a group process, so we all kind of helped a bit with that, but you two were the primary forces behind that, if I recall.
Yep.
But yes, I played myself. We should have had a credits sequence for everyone. The making of the pancake, that was me, in my kitchen. We got one of those headbands that you can put a GoPro to and slapped it on, and I made a pancake. And I remember thinking while I was filming, I was like, what am I supposed to do entertaining while making a pancake?
You did more than enough, buddy.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of the video.
And also, as for supplies, someone was a goober and forgot a couple cards for the printing. Luckily, I just so happened to own them. It was the Guillaume and the Scarab God and the Wanderer. I just had those for some reason.
Excellent. And as Cameron had mentioned, we were all involved in the writing process. I was one of the people who was big in getting it started. I was also one of the people who made sure we got the planning for it, because this had a pretty interesting production cycle. The first thing we want to mention is we want to mention our inspiration for this. The inspiration for this video came from something called How to Play Chess Properly by Maniac1075 on YouTube. It is an incredibly funny video. Highly recommend watching it if you get a chance to. The manic energy really keeps to the name of the author on that one.
We'll try to get our editor to put it in the description so that
we
if you want to go watch it.
Great video.
It's a great video.
So as we mentioned, the production cycle on this took quite a bit of time, actually. This was first discussed in late January and early February for a video that was coming out on April 1st. So we had an almost 2-month production cycle just for planning. Of course, we kept trying to push it back.
We're all very busy people, it turns out.
Yeah,
so.
We're all busy.
That or procrastinators.
A little bit of both, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of both.
A lot of both, yes.
The exploratory script writing actually, first took place in the first week of March. We needed to make sure we had enough time to actually edit the process and get everything done. So there was about a 2.5-3 week break between the beginning of the script being written and the day that it was filmed. And the script was being finalized all the way up through end of day, which is why I was actually really surprised watching the video, because I wasn't there for filming. I live in a different state from most of the people here, so it was great.
You got to experience it. Yeah, we were part of it with the recording. When you watched the video, you're like, oh!
There was so many good things that happened on that. Like, who came up with discarding the box of dragon shields?
I think that's actually a thing I added, like, when I was... the, like, script writing process for everybody at home, we essentially got a bunch of people together in a call, and we're like, okay, these are jokes we want to tell. Let's try to fit as many of them as we can. Jason helped me outline it, and then over those, like, few weeks, I, like, wrote stuff down, and then had Cody help me... Well, I essentially read the script at Cody to help me edit it, to make sure it all worked together. But the box of dragon shields is something that I put in pretty, like, late in the like, not long before. It was, like, probably like, a couple days before we filmed. I was like, all right, we should... I think we had recently partnered with Dragon Shield. I was like, hey, we need a Dragon Shield joke. What if this... It was supposed to be a Shield High Dragon, actually, and the channel was like, I think it's just funnier if we just say he discards a box of Dragon Shields. So that was during the editing process. I was like, yeah, I think we're just going to have him discard a box of Dragon Shields. But yeah, that came up like a couple days before filming, and then in editing is when it actually changed to just a box of Dragon Shields, because I had in the script that it was a Shield High Dragon.
Were there any other things that were like improv or last second, like, you know, how much of eating that pancake was planned?
None of that. Also, Cody taking a bite of the burnt ass piece of toast that he won't complain. He won't stop complaining about how dry it was, which it was. It was just a piece of toast.
I think, wasn't it like the butt end of the bread too? Like, it was just the worst piece of toast imaginable.
Yeah, I'm not a chef.
We have video proof that you're a chef, actually. So.
This is true.
Well, there was one more thing. Oh, the Digitonomon.
Digitomon
that was originally supposed to be a
script.
But that was originally supposed to be the card, correct?
Yeah, instead.
Yeah.
I had the infinite tokens that we were
I thought somebody had printed the proxy out for it, to be completely fair, and nobody did. I was misled. I will say, you reaching across the table to do the last counterbalance flip, to which gives the joke of, yes, this was Cameron playing the both decks at the entire time. Yeah.
There's so many good, like, small jokes in there. Before we get too far into explaining the jokes, how was getting stuff together for day of filming? Like, obviously we've mentioned some things were missing.
It was very hectic. I could have definitely made sure things were organized sooner.
It was our first rodeo as a team doing that kind of thing, and it was really fun regardless. But yes, it was very hectic, i.e. me having to like, we need a Scarab God, a Guillaume.
Well, look, to be fair, I think I forgot Scarab God and Guillaume on, like, the proxy list, because they don't actually appear in the video. They're just the commanders.
That's true. What was I going to say? I think we were short a Stifle as well, and just Chandler happened to have
yeah, I think we ended up being short a Stifle somehow. Yeah.
It's fine. We worked it out, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, obviously, explaining the jokes makes the jokes funnier. So, let's go and talk about some of the jokes and how we wanted this script writing process to reveal itself. Now, obviously, we didn't want to reveal ourselves too early, but we wanted to make jokes so you actually could see multiple hints that something was wrong with this video from the opening hands. The first one was with our Guillaume deck. Someone in the comments on that video was like, "Don't make someone mull to 4." And, like, if you actually look at any of our non-CEDH videos, you'll notice we never do, because we do friendly mulls to 7.
Yeah, it's just better for content, and also lets people, like, actually play the game, as opposed to, like, having to actually, like, mulligan down to 4 because you can't find any lands. Go ahead.
We have some early videos where we did not do friendly mulls in casual games, and I believe it was Justin, and there was games that were just non-games because he had to keep terrible hands, which isn't fun.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say, like, just staying on the topic of, like, opening hands and, like, things, we put, like, things in the opening hands. Like, I know we put a couple, like, a troll card in, like, I think it was, like, Feasting Troll King in Guillaume's opening hand.
And Hot Soup.
You would play that in a Guillaume deck.
Oh, the thing is, you would, but it had troll
soup
in the name, so I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Also Hot Soup, which is something you would probably play in Guillaume, but it's hilarious.
It's not. I would. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Hilarious card, not the best one to play.
Unblockable? right?
Yeah, it also destroys itself or
If it gets-
hurts your creature.
Hey,
whichever
that's
one it
only
was.
it spilled its soap on itself.
Yeah.
Like it was hot.
Yeah.
It was
Not
hot.
exactly the best card, but that's okay. Moving on, we also had some intentionally salty cards in the opening hands. Cards that you wouldn't normally expect us to play during a casual game. Mainly Armageddon and Counterbalance. And we took that Counterbalance. We got every dollar's worth on that card.
We got
Every ounce.
there was so many counterbalance triggers.
I think Chandler ended up editing some out during the Uno reverse war. He ended up editing a lot of those out just because there were so many.
Yeah. And the only reason we really included those cards is to get a reaction in case someone saw them in opening hand. Like, it was, why would you play Armageddon?
I think
Well,
there
we
was
rolled it
also
away,
like
so you don't have to worry
a
about it. Like,
propaganda in an opening hand too, which I think is funny.
yeah, we had memes in the opening hands. Like, Guillaume's whole deck was a meme. We addressed the hot soup and the troll, right? But we also had propaganda and Shadow of Doubt. And Shadow of Doubt was just...
I forgot about this.
Shadow of Doubt was the perfect little nod to something's not right here, but it's a card you might expect to see.
Yeah, it also had kind
especially
of
with our
effect,
tutors or cringe
like
crowd.
I think we had a mirror entity in somebody's hand too, and I think we put that. Yeah, that was a reference to. Well, it's much longer ago now.
That was in the
but,
Atla deck.
The game that Shelby won with his Reaper King deck, where somebody's like, "Wow, there's like barely any scarecrows here," and we're like, "But no, I think
Good luck
I think
finding eggs.
I had either Ethan in the intro call it a scarecrow, or Chandler say that the Atla Palani player discarded a scarecrow as like a reference to that, because I just thought it was a funny little like joke if somebody had read the comments from that video.
There was also Green Mana Monkey.
Oh, yeah, because you had Simeon Spirit guy. Yeah, Mana Monkey. I think I put Mana Monkey but green, but I think he might have said Green Mana Monkey, which is fine.
Yep.
The joke still gets across.
Monkey.
Monkey.
That's all that matters. You just double monkey. The other thing with the Atla Palani deck, which you didn't see it when the opening hands, because I don't remember which lands we used. I think we used Kamigawa ones, but
I think we used the
but
Kamigawa.
they played Pokemon Energies, which is something people will actually do occasionally, but you just don't see it very often, and it was the subtle hint of, we're not playing Magic today.
Just play Theros lands.
Yeah, just play Theros. It's close enough.
I remember there's one thing we should have done in addition to the Pokemon lands. I think the Atla deck should have played lands in front. Just for the full because people do that, which I'm not gonna judge, but it's bad.
I think we've actually had somebody during our community nights. They've played lands in front before.
Yes,
it did bother me a little, but it's okay.
I think
I thought about saying something. I was like, no,
is it
this is
something
fine.
like to do with how long you've been playing Magic? Do people who've been playing it longer?
I think it used to be, that used to be like the
Okay.
standard,
At least
like a long
There was
time
less.
ago.
It used to
accepted.
be. It used to be for competitive Magic. There was less formatting issues, like where you put your deck, where you put your graveyard. Like to this day, there's still customization that people will do with placing deck and graveyard, but it was lands could go wherever, and creatures could go wherever. But now it's changed, particularly for
Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, Dryad Arbor. Well, Dryad Arbor changed the rules where it made it so if it's a creature and a land, it needs to be in the front, but it needs to be up with the other creatures. But the change was made so for viewing online, if you were doing a stream, for example, it was an easier way to understand what the actual board state was, because it was mirrored, and it was much easier to line up blocks.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, the next thing that we did is we intentionally broke the rules of Magic, because guess what? We weren't playing Magic today. We actually struggled with this a lot during the script writing, because, like, it's really funny when you base your rule set in reality of the things that you could do, but obviously we just needed to break the rules to do bullshit.
Yes.
Like, how do we want to have Gizzle Brand have enough life to just go off on a storm? Oh, we'll just make him gain 1,000 life. Stop trying to think of reasonable ways to do it. Just play a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Just play a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Also the why can't I not think of it? The show and tell.
Oh.
We just put Sin triplets.
Yeah, there was a comment about, hey, you can't put Sin triplets in off of show and tell. It's like,
that was the
we
joke.
just played Uno. We just had an Uno counter. No, it's the. No, I think the Uno counter happens after that. But we had done to that point. Already, like, I think played cards from other games like a couple times at that point. It's like we're not exactly following the rules anymore.
Let's talk about the show and tell in a little more detail, because literally all of the cards that were put into play were memes or broke the rules. All right.
Yeah, Almighty Brushwag, Digitamamon, Gizzle Brand, and
Sin triplets from the command zone.
From the command
zone.
So, yes.
Yeah, like, you can't play Gizzle Brand. It's banned. Digitamamon's not in this game. Almighty Brushwag, I've only seen one person put those into decks, and I salute
Is it you?
No.
Oh,
I haven't done it. I'll find a way. I'll find a day where I'm happy to put the Almighty Brushwag into my deck. Obviously, another one is we'd already mentioned that we took the counterbalance for a ride, man.
Oh.
And with it, 3 or 4 Emrakuls did we reveal?
It was 4 in theory. We had 2 different actual Emrakul arts, and then we had the Wanderer and the Wandering Emperor as like a reference to
that fan theory,
to all the memes.
Theory.
Yeah, to all like fan theory / memes of the Wanderer being Emrakul, or like an extension of Emrakul. I was like, yep, I'm gonna call back to this because it was funny to me. It's still funny.
Yes,
to me,
it is.
To be honest.
I enjoy it greatly. It makes me wish that we had managed to find a callback to in Shadows over Innistrad. There was the thing going on that people didn't think it was Emrakul. They thought it was Merit-Lage.
What?
Yeah, they thought it was more likely that it was Merit-Lage than Emrakul because we just had Eldrazi and we didn't want to do that. Turns out more Eldrazi.
What plane is Merit-Lage from?
It's frozen on Dominaria currently, but it's an interplanar avatar. I don't think we know its origins.
Is it evil or good, or do we not know?
It's pretty evil.
Okay.
More on the destructive side.
I think
Okay.
it's pretty like Eldritch in motivation, where it's like chaos. I think we flashed a Pokemon code card.
Yes.
Which is still valid to my knowledge. Like, if somebody is able to somehow decipher the code off of that thing, that's yours. That's all you.
Go get it.
I think we also flashed like maybe like a Dave and Buster's
We did.
like
It was
card.
It was Chandler's. It has a dinosaur. I remember he was very proud
Excellent.
of it.
I think we debated about putting somebody's like super old like fishing permit on there, but we're like that might accidentally dox somebody, so let's not do that.
The next like big joke that I think pretty much everyone caught on to pretty quickly. There were 4 stifles in that video.
I think that was like my one joke that got in, and I was very proud of it.
It's a good joke.
It was pretty good, yeah.
There was one in my opening hand. Don't forget. I have one in.
Which is exiled under Gemstone Caverns, and then 3 more to bully Grizzle Brand.
The Grizzle Brand had 1,000 life at that point, or did they play the?
It was a little bit over 1,000. Okay. It's like 1,018. Oh, that's another thing is I had to, for the end of the video with the Arceus V-Star, I had to get the life total to under 200. I was like, all right, how many life-having spells can we play? So I think I did like Cruel Bargain, thanks to me knowing that card from Quick CDH. Peer into the Abyss, Doomsday does it. And also just playing cards off of Balsa Citadel.
Yeah. And like, speaking of the 1,000 life thing, the emergency provisions Yu-Gi-Oh card. I don't know why, but that card was so hard for us to find.
Is it a good card in Yu-Gi-Oh?
I don't think so.
And I think it's old and like it's not been played. It's like people don't even like sell it probably anymore.
I think most Yu-Gi-Oh cards are very cheap, so it's hard to determine unless it's special with one of their like 36 different rarity types or whatever it is. But
I don't know Yu-Gi-Oh.
Working at a card shop was fun, guys. And I don't know why, but for some reason, there's multiple databases you can go and look at Yu-Gi-Oh cards. For some reason, just finding one that gained 1,000 life was difficult. It took way more time.
Not supported archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Not nearly enough, I guess.
Not really, no.
And the weirdest thing that nobody called us out on, don't cast Deflecting Palm.
Yeah, I think everybody had just kind of accepted it at that point.
No, people were calling us out on
like
BS things all throughout that video. Like,
I know.
I think my favorite BS thing is the unstable obelisk countering something.
Yes.
I love that.
Off the counterbalance. Just because
just like
similar enough.
Similar enough.
You know,
And the funny thing there is too is like since he was casting him off both the Citadel, I had to be like, he loses a certain amount of life. How much is it? I was like, oh wait, they have 10 stars or power symbols. I don't know what they're called in Yu-Gi-Oh, but like, all right, they cost 10 life to play.
Value.
An Unstable Obelisk is 3 mana. In theory, off the criteria I had established, Obelisk is 10 mana, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't work at all with
Yeah,
balance.
you can't hit that with Unstable Obelisk. It's only 3 mana. But you know what? It's unstable, so it's 10. There we go.
Is that the only thing the Unstable Obelisk counters? Or the counterbalance counters?
I'm pretty sure it's the only thing we had it actually counter.
And then,
Yeah, I think it's literally the only thing that got countered.
And then
Yeah.
how did we get rid of Gizzle Brand again?
He got bullied into going back to Legacy,
That's
Yep.
right.
which technically was something you did.
And I think that did I stifle an Exodia trigger or how do? Oh,
No, that was the
We
Uno
Uno
counter war.
reverse.
Oh, that's,
So
yes.
I think Cameron, not Cam.
If you can't
Cameron
tell, it's been a little bit since I watched this video.
Yeah. Cameron puts a skip turn on the stack, and then we play. I pulled out literally every like Uno reverse card from the deck, and just like divided them up amongst you guys. And so we went through every Uno reverse card in the deck,
Reverse,
and then eventually with the stack like resolves, and the skip card resolves normally. Yeah.
Also worth noting, why I said no, it's weird no one called us out on that, is because someone told us that's not how Exodia works.
That's right.
Yep.
I guess, are there triggers that go on the stack in Yu-Gi-Oh?
It's not even a trigger. You just reveal and win. There's nothing to respond to. You just reveal it and you win.
There's nothing really like that in Magic. There's
No.
like no split second,
No.
I win.
I guess like second. Well, no, what's the sun one?
Approach to the second sun?
Approach it. Yeah, like approach to the second sun, but like the ability has split second as well for some reason.
Yeah.
So I created a scenario in my head real quick. Say you have a Blood Artist and an Elishnorn out, and you sudden spoiling everyone. I guess the Blood Artist triggers go on the stack first. Still,
Yeah.
But I just
Yeah. Like,
you win. It's kind of not able to respond.
close enough. But like, yeah, there's no actual equivalent, which is still why I mean, also no one called us out on having an Arceus attack a player. They can only attack Pokemon. Also, no one called us out on digivolving into an Arceus. So, like,
Yeah.
There was an egg, a real egg.
Yeah, I love the fact that we got an actual egg on the board. That was great.
bless the egg.
And then
Thank
it
you.
get given to me to make a pancake.
Indeed, it did. Which we didn't have you actually break it on camera, but it was fine. It still all worked. It was hilarious. We didn't. We just forgot, but it worked out anyway.
Yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything that we wanted to talk about in terms of the jokes. Obviously, we've now completed this. We were all involved in this. So was there anything we didn't like about the video and areas we would want to improve for next time? Logan, what do you think?
I mean, my biggest thing is like kind of said it earlier, but like just making sure things are prepared and people know their responsibilities earlier ahead of time. Actually use my my theater degree to be like, you guys are doing this and you guys are doing this.
Yeah. For me, the big area was, I know I mentioned that we had about a 3-week production period from actually exploratory writing to filming. I would actually like that to be a little bit longer so we can do a little bit better review process. It took a little too much prodding for us to get it started, especially since we tried to push back that initial exploratory meeting by another week or a few days, and I really had to put my foot down and say, no, it's weird that we're doing this on a Monday, but we're gonna do this.
I basically agree with what y'all said, and more time to get everything hashed out and getting everything in place like a week early or something, having everything printed ready to go, so we're not scrambling for ideas to come up with different jokes or scrambling for cards.
And the big question is, our editor on this got really, really tired of the Elden Ring / No Maidens joke. Was it too cringe or was it too topical? Would we include another joke like it for another video?
My only thing with it is it does like date the video to around the time Elden Ring released. I don't think it was like too cringe. It's a little cheesy, but I didn't mind it that much. My biggest thing is just that it dates the video.
It's fun. We're nerds. We don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I do agree it does date the video, which makes it less timeless, right? Our inspiration for this was, again, How to Play Chess Properly by Maniac 1075. That video is timeless. There's no jokes that are really topical to the era that it was made. So perhaps we would go back and not do a joke quite like that. But then again, if we had done something like Try Finger Butthole, I imagine it would have been fine.
Yeah, that's a little... I mean, it is Elden Ring, but it's also, like, just kind of funny in its own right.
Try Finger
Right.
Butthole.
There's no guarantee that this won't be a joke that sticks around for a while, although it is starting to fall off a little bit already. So, I don't know. Maybe it was wrong. I liked it.
I liked it too.
So, would we do this again? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. The video had positive reception. Hilariously, it's also one of our most disliked videos, but doesn't matter. We had fun. It's April Fools. People get got and they dislike the videos.
Yeah, and to be fair, the ratio is still, like, pretty good. It's just slightly worse than usual. I'd totally be down to do this again. It's kind of hard to make April Fools an annual thing just because the upload date shifts around. It was kind of perfect this year because it was on a Friday, which was a regular enough time for us to upload that people weren't like, this is weird. Why are they uploading on a Tuesday? But I'd love to do like opening skits for like special videos, like set releases and stuff like that. I know we kind of maybe thought about trying to do something for New Capenna, but I think we all were just really busy and didn't have time to like sit down and write anything for it. But like, yeah, future sets I'd totally be down. Or like, if we did some like interesting like themed videos, like if we do like a Christmas in July video, we could do a fun thing for that.
Yeah, the video was very fun. My only thing is if we say are open to doing this again, people may expect like another April Fool's video around the same time. You know, I think the most fun is from getting people from our end. Just that nobody expected this out of us.
I do agree. If we do something again, in all likelihood, it wouldn't be another April Fool's video. Or if we do an April Fool's video, it might be something like a short as opposed to a full-length video. But,
I agree.
Yeah. Also, I forgot something we didn't talk about here. The rant at the end.
Oh God, yeah, we completely forgot. We can just talk about that now. Then,
yeah, let's talk about that.
We want to talk about last minute.
Yeah, that was So that came about because Chandler was like, the video doesn't like quite make it to 10 minutes in a sweet YouTube algorithm. It likes 10-minute videos. So I think me or like Ethan, I think suggested it. We just had like a rant about like stinging study.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I'll be in on this. And I think Jason as well.
Yeah. Oh.
So.
Okay, let me just lay this out for y'all real quick. This was a completely unscripted argument that just happened. It had me, Logan, and Ethan in there from the beginning, but I didn't say a word until the very end because I couldn't stop laughing.
That is my favorite part of the whole thing, is it kind of makes it seem scripted that there's just one person, third person there, that was listening in the whole time. In reality, it was just Jason could not get a word in.
He couldn't get a word out or in. Yeah,
I couldn't. And I couldn't disrupt something so beautiful.
We also have heated debates on stinging study internally, not just for that.
Regularly. We will yell at each other about
we are very
study.
divided on if it is a good card or not, because it is. You know.
I guess to explain the joke to make it funnier. Yeah, the only line I say is, "God damn it, Ethan, why are you making sense?" Which is hilarious because Ethan's in the camp of, he does think Stinging Study is a card that can be used and has its good uses. Not as fervently as he was in that debate, but he agrees. I'm very firmly in the camp of never play this card.
It's fine in the right deck, but there's just so many better things you could be doing.
Yep. And we will let you go back to the video if you want to hear the full debate on that.
Yeah.
But with that, that's going to stop the conversation on the April Fool's video. It was a great video, and we want to move back onto something that we haven't done for a little bit. It's been a couple months since we talked about the Zerscale. Let's remind everyone what Zerscale is exactly. Zerscale is a rough power ranking system of all the commanders that exist in Magic, and it is based on the commander. This is meant to be a bit of an evaluation tool for if you're building a deck, understanding how powerful the commander itself is, and the synergies that they have that will be something a little bit stronger to a table. We do primarily exclude CEDH from this because a lot of CEDH builds are more about the win cons within it. Tymna's a strong commander and all, but, Tymna's not the reason that deck is so strong. It's because you put a Thassa's Oracle in it.
Tymna's still...
She's good.
Tymna's still super good.
Don't get me
Tymna
wrong,
does
the
create
resident
a lot
Tymna
of-
player, but... but... there's other things and other commanders. Some of them just break things, and we are addressing this from primarily a casual sphere. So, the first thing we wanted to talk about, we're in mono blue today. Last time we covered mono white. There's been some updates since then, but today's for blue. And we want to talk about a couple of groupings of commanders first. The mono blue artifact commanders. In this grouping, we are going to be talking about Urza, Lord High Artificer, Emory, Lurker of the Loch, Arkham Dagsum, and then have a brief mention of Muzio here. We don't need to go into great detail on him. We have our scale divided by a regular normal build, just somebody threw a deck together, it's pretty good. And then we have an optimized build, truly building around the commander, trying to do what they can do to get the most out of their commander. For Urza, Urza is our first 10 out of 10. We have it both 10 casual, or 10 normal, I should say, and 10 optimized. Guys, how do you feel about that?
Right on the...
I mean, I think it's reasonable
correct.
just because, it makes like all of your artifacts into mock sapphires, which is pretty good. Not to mention like the like off cases where it's a mono artifact where if it gets tapped it turns itself off like a Trinosphere. You can be like, yeah, everybody else gets to play around Trinosphere. I don't really care. Tap.
Winter Orb's the big one there.
Winter
Winter
Orb is
Orb.
another one.
And
Winter Orb,
Static
Static Orb.
as well. Yeah, both of those are the big ones. I mean, we mentioned the other artifact commanders in mono blue, which are really good in their own right, but I can't really envision anything. I mean, I could see something being better than Urza. It would have to be like even more bonkers. But as for now, an already really powerful archetype in mono blue artifacts, or just artifacts in general, Urza's definitely the best.
Yeah, it gives you a body to beat face with, which is a highly undervalued part of that commander. Is just, here's my 10/10 Golem, or Construct. Let me just beat you down with it.
It's also mana back on cast. He's kind of like, if you want to think about it, he's kind of 3 mana, just because you
True,
get
he
the
does
mana
just
back on the...
Come with a mana rock that can also kill people.
And you can also, Mind's Desire yourself, right?
Yeah.
Which,
Pretty much.
that's not why you're playing him. I think there are some win conditions associated with that activation
Yes.
I mean, yeah, if
ability.
you
Generate infinite colorless mana and you
Right.
just win.
But I feel like he would still be busted if it didn't have that line of text on it.
Absolutely. That's the least relevant ability, and it's the infinite mana outlet.
Yes.
Which is, absurd.
You're playing mono blue artifacts. Infinite mana is not hard.
Yeah. I'm just going to let you know now, if you have Urza as your commander, it is hard to balance Urza to a table. You probably should be targeting an Urza player. We always have a different story for CDH. I'm actually in the camp that Urza CDH is not that good, but it is powerful.
I think it got better with Hullbreaker Horror being
Yeah,
being
it can
printed.
be really explosive, but it is also kind of fragile. Yeah.
But really the strength to this is both the artifact shell is very good and the commanders that support them are good. So looking at Emory, right, a commander that reduces its cost to 1 and recurs artifacts is pretty powerful.
Also self-mills.
Self-milling also very relevant. We have Emory as an 8 for normal and a 10 for optimized, putting it on par with Urza when you optimize it. It's really powerful, and even going into Arkham here, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah, both of them.
We actually have Arkham as higher than Emory. We have Arkham as a 9 base, or a 9 for normal, and 10 for optimized. And the reason being for that is tutors are really, really powerful, especially in a more casual environment. Just finding the one artifact you need, and just having an engine going with Arkham, which usually I think it's Mirror Reservoir is the card that a lot of them get in the more casual environments. Just sack some artifact.
How does Arkham reads sack an artifact creature to get a non-artifact creature?
Yep, and
non-creature
Mirror
artifact. Sorry.
Yeah. And Mirror Reservoir is just tap to make a 1/1 mirror.
Oh, that's kind of perfect for what you want to do.
Yep, just always be able to tutor exactly the artifact you want. Every time.
Also, like the Mirror Retriever, and is probably pretty good in that deck. Junk Diver.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that want to die.
Yeah, the aristocrat mirrors.
Yeah, so Arkham's floor is a little bit higher than Emory's, but when you optimize them, they get to similar power levels.
Yeah, I don't know which one's better, honestly, but...
Yeah, I need to see playtesting.
But they're both very powerful, and Arkham's a little bit more old school scary. I was actually a little bit surprised that Arkham's fallen off as much as he has. He's really
Arkham used to
good.
be the mono blue artifact guy, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Muzio was the one who came around to try to replace him. By the way, Muzio's a 7 and 8 for us. So, Muzio's strong, but Muzio is not nearly to the level of Urza and Emory.
Oh, no, not at all.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that's what Muzio does.
He just goes and finds more artifacts. He just progressively digs deeper into the deck. He's 3 mana, right, for a 1/3?
Yeah, I'll read them. 1 blue for a 1/3. 3 and a blue to tap to look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the highest CMC among artifacts, and put an artifact from among those cards onto the battlefield under your control.
In old school's scary area, they would just go grab the Blightsteel.
Oh, it can? Oh, my lord. I thought it was going to have to be X or less.
No.
So
he goes up his own chain.
So you could just, like Enlighten Tutor for a Blightsteel. Well, no, you can't. 'cause it's
Good
not
luck.
blue.
Yeah, good luck enlightened tutoring in your mono blue deck.
So
but
you
yes.
Narset's Reversal and a Lighten Tutor. And then you... Yeah.
But yeah, that pretty much covers the mono blue artifact guys. We've got a few more that we want to talk about here. Let's talk about our slow Spellslinger decks in Dika and Talrand. I assume most people are familiar with Talrand Sky Summoner. Just whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, make a 2/2 Flying Drake. He's 4 mana 2/2 Merfolk Wizard. As for Dika Fractal Theorist, I think his name. Yeah, 5 mana 3/3 Magecraft. So whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, you get an XX, or you get a 0/0 Fractal with X counters on it, where X is the mana value of the spell that is being cast or copied. And then he has a 3 or 4 mana to make a token unblockable.
I think it's just target creature can't be blocked.
No,
I
it's
remember.
a token.
Is it
I'm
specifically a token?
fairly
Yeah.
certain.
Either way, that's the main thing you would make unblockable
Yeah.
anyway.
Dika's 1 mana more.
Yep.
And also doesn't give evasion to the tokens, but the tokens can be a lot bigger.
It's 3 and a blue to activate target
Yeah.
creature token can't be blocked.
Yep.
Ah.
So we're not quite sure how Dika compares to Talrand, because like the ceiling is potentially much higher by having higher mana value things and more things that you can just copy things. But paying for your evasion can be a problem.
For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where Talrand is 1 mana less and has innate evasion
Right.
on the tokens.
Yeah, and also I guess Dika can kind of benefit from like +1/+1 counter synergies with
Yes.
the little bit and you get in mono blue, which is like proliferate.
Yeah. The
You
copy
could throw a thrumming bird in there, I guess. Right?
the copy thing isn't irrelevant either, just because like you
Storm.
get like a
Yeah.
storm, or I was thinking just play this if you get infinite mana with a Isochron Scepter, you have an infinite
Mhm.
board.
Yep.
Sometimes you can't. I know sometimes people with the infinite mana off an Isochron Scepter can't translate that into a win immediately.
Yep.
But this allows that.
And you can do it at instant speed for Dika,
Mhm.
which is relevant too.
Yep.
Granted, you have to go through your opponent's turn and then recognizing that you have an Isochron Scepter in play and just can't do anything about it. But
Isochron Scepter dramatic reversal, I should specify, with the number of mana rocks. And you also don't need the colors, which is nice, because a lot of the time is you can make the infinite mana, but it's all colorless, so, what can you do?
for both of these decks, we have valued at a 6 normal and a 7 optimized. Think there may be a way to push Dika's a little bit higher. I think Talrand is really a great case of a good but pretty average commander, slightly above average, and it's a pretty common first commander for a lot of people, so you have a really large sample size with Talrand.
I believe it was my second commander deck I ever built, and I, get tired of getting counterspelled, so I was giddy when I built mono blue counterspells.
Yep.
Then sold it to Logan, or traded it to Logan.
Yes, for merfolk.
I think we're pretty good on the spell slingers. Logan, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Not really. I think we said everything.
All right.
I would say.
So let's jump into our first solo commander we're going to talk about. And we mentioned before how we usually don't talk about CEDH, but this is one where we have to. Let's talk about Teferi Temporal Archmage. So Teferi Temporal Archmage is a 6 mana planeswalker you may play as your commander. The uptick is look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one into hand, one at the bottom. The downtick, which is the important part, is to untap up to 4 different target permanents. So, Teferi has a very unique build where you put Chain Veil in the deck, which gives you an additional activation of a Planeswalker. It's on a tap ability, but it costs 4 mana to activate, if I remember correctly. And you put a bunch of mana rocks that tap for multiple mana, like, say, a Gilded Lotus, which will tap for 3 mana. You put that in the deck, you try to assemble 3 artifacts that tap for multiple mana and a Chain Veil. Downtick the Teferi, untap the Chain Veil, untap the artifacts, activate Chain Veil, float your mana, downtick. You're going to generate near infinite mana doing this. And you'll just recast Teferi from the command zone over and over and over.
Yeah, it's essentially it's like a very much old school scary commander. And if this was like pretty like premier CEDH, like back in the, I guess, old school like
during
days.
the early days of CEDH.
Yeah.
When, like, we're talking something from Commander 2014, and the decks for this, I don't even remember hearing much of these decks until around 2016, honestly. So,
I'm not as up on like the history of CEDH as I am with like EDH.
It's still a perfectly fine mono blue CDH commander. I personally think that Urza is better. I think you've mentioned how people will sometimes just put combos in decks without realizing it, and this is one of those decks that, like, yeah, you see Chain Veil, it's pretty cool with your Planeswalker being your commander, so I'll throw that in for value, and people are going to play things like you said, Gilded Lotus, or Thran Dynamo's a big one. I know Grim Monolith works pretty well with this too, Basalt Monolith, just the cheap ones that can tap for, Soul Ring, obviously.
2 to 3 mana.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting that it's pretty uncommon to see a high percentage of a single card in a deck, right? Soul Ring is in 83% of all commander decks. Chain Veil is in 72% of Teferi decks. And of that, the mana rocks to support it are all in the upper 60s%. So, assuming that it's a complete overlap, you're talking over 60% of these decks are ones that have the Chain Veil combo in them, and therefore the deck is pretty much all CEDH. If you see a Teferi Temporal Archmage deck out in the wild, it is probably a CEDH deck, or it is by a pilot who doesn't realize they've created a CEDH deck. Also worth noting, it's a pretty small sample size with only 456 decks at the time of recording. There could be more, but yeah, that's a pretty high percentage of all of these decks for not the most popular deck. And I should give the rating. We gave the rating of this commander as an 8 normal and a 9 optimized. The reason being is there are that percentage of decks that don't have the Chain Veil in it, so we do want to try to account for that. And also, this is no longer a premier CEDH deck, but it is something that at a casual table, if people aren't prepared for it, they will get run over by it because they just don't know what happened.
Yeah, the combo's a little bit hard to interact with.
It's probably also worth mentioning how they win, because they just get the infinite mana. You can also infinitely uptick your Teferi and find your Thassa's Oracle and cast it.
The important thing on this is you either want to try to find a way to copy the ability, or you just use the mana and you get a Blue Sun Zenith.
That works. That's probably better.
Draw your deck, and then you just play your Thassa's Oracle or whatever means that you have to win from there, or that you just kill your opponent. It is a little difficult to actually do the infinite ticking up of Teferi because you need to keep untapping the Chain Veil, but there's ways to do it. Mm-hmm. It's possible. With Teferi Temporal Archmage covered, we're going to talk about a weird one. Kami of the Crescent Moon. This is a 2-mana 1/3 spirit, and at the beginning of each player's upkeep, draw an extra card.
Howling Mine.
It's not you. Every player draws each player draws an extra card in their upkeep. It is just Howling Mine as a commander. We have this rated as a 1 normal and a 4 optimized. Most people are playing this as just a casual draw cards matter or a group hug deck, but there is one build that is very good with it, which is extra turns.
Kami is 2 mana, correct?
2 mana.
Yeah.
Your Howling Mine.
I mean, that's what Howling Mine is.
Yep. So you just load up on all of these extra card draw effects and play as many of these extra turns as possible. Find whatever way you want to win from there, right? A very optimized Kami build that's trying to win and is built around the commander would be about a 4 then on our list. It's still risky, because you need enough extra turn effects, you need enough mana, right? You need to get to 5 mana just to be able to start casting most of your extra turns.
Yeah, and it's also noteworthy that after you play Kami, most of the time your opponents are getting the value from Kami before you do. Which I think we've talked about Marilyn of the Morn Song previously on the podcast. Or is Black after?
We haven't covered Black on the podcast yet. I think we brought up Marilyn at one point.
I think we brought it up when we talked about something.
Yeah. But, yeah, so Kami, to less of an extent of Marilyn, kind of suffers from the same issue where your opponents get the value, and then sometimes they just find the spell that kills the thing before you actually get the value. Whereas Marilyn, the person last in the turn order before you, probably just like, okay, I'll go get, well, I almost said go get my Doomblade, but that doesn't work. I'll go get my Infernal Grasp or whatever their kill spell of choice is, and then you don't even get to search your own library. Kami, yeah, I mean, you're giving everybody else at the table an extra card before you even get to benefit from it. That's why it's like definitely a 1 normal. It still is a 4 like optimized, because while it can do some interesting stuff with extra turns, it's still
risky.
Hard. Yeah, it's still very risky.
It's also just, if your goal is to try to take as close to infinite turns as possible, there's not even a guarantee that you can get in there with your 1/3, right? So there still needs to be another win con in the deck.
The card's cute, but I don't think Howling Mine effects are good generally unless you're building your deck around it, i.e. like Xyrus. It's very good. Nekusar less so, but still good. I think it shines most in Xyrus. Those kinds of effects. Giving your opponent's cards is not something you generally want to be doing. Secret Rendezvous is not a good card, according to us.
We will fight Richard from MTG Goldfish on this.
Yes, we will.
Card is bad.
You're down a card. You are still technically at card disadvantage when you cast it.
Yeah, you pay in 3 mana and get overall 1 less card than your opponent.
All right. Enough about Secret Rendezvous. Let's talk about another weird one in Mono Blue. So we're going to talk about Narumeha, who is a 4-mana wizard with flash. When it ETBs, you can copy a spell, one of your instants and sorceries on the stack. Okay? We have this as a 7 normal and a 7 optimized, and there's a very good reason for this. Narumeha goes infinite with the card Ghostly Flicker or Illusionist Gambit. Or Stratagem. One of those two.
Yeah, it's Stratagem, yeah.
Which is a card that you select and creature, artifact, or enchantment, I believe, and you can flicker them. You pick 2 of them, right? So you cast your Ghostly Flicker, cast Narumeha, make a copy of its Ghostly Flicker. For the targets for your copy of Ghostly Flicker, you select Narumeha and 1 other permanent. Flicker Narumeha, copy the original Ghostly Flicker again, and whatever thing that you want to. Congratulations, you now have various means of infinite damage, infinite card draw, whatever combo you want. Costs you 7 mana, so not exactly the easiest combo. But the reason we bring this up is we discovered something fascinating with Narumeha. Talking about Ghostly Flicker, and how, even a card like Sol Ring only has 83%, it only shows up in 83% of decks. Ghostly Flicker shows up in 98% of Narumeha decks.
Which, yeah, we talked about the percentage of, I think it was the percentage of Sol Ring index is 83%, we talked about with Teferi. Yeah, Ghostly Flicker is 15% higher than the card that defines EDH in this deck, which is absurd.
You're more likely to find a Narumeha deck without a Sol Ring in it than you are to find one without Ghostly Flicker.
Which is hilarious. Yeah.
That is hilarious.
And as we mentioned, right, this is a 7-mana combo. It's not exactly the easiest thing to pull off.
Yeah, you in fact probably do want that Sol Ring in your deck.
Turns out Sol Ring's pretty good, I hear. But it does mean that pretty much every single Narumeha deck is going to have an infinite combo. Whether or not the player knows how to make the Ghostly Flicker combo work is a different question. But they're gonna have it in their deck. So just make the assumption you're playing against an infinite combo deck at the table, and they have a 2-card combo with one of them being the commander.
Also, instant speed. Don't forget, this deck wins at instant speed.
Instant speed, yes. If you see a Sunscorched Desert in their deck pinging somebody for 1, know that's the win con.
Yeah, I will say I think it's actually a 3-card combo with one of the cards being the commander, because you need the second card to flicker with Narumeha to actually win the game. Otherwise, you're like, haha, hee hee, Wizard go burr.
True.
You kind of need you need something else. Something that draws you cards or mills people or
There's the creature that can mill when
Sage
a blue
Road
creature.
Sage Road
Yeah. There is a
which
third...
I guess.
Yeah.
Can you flicker lands with those?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah,
obviously you
that's
can.
the whole point.
But I mean, in theory, you could have one of the mill crabs and just flicker like an island.
Yeah,
and that
That could work.
Yeah, it is technically a 3-card combo. The problem is there's like 30 different things you can put into that slot to win. So
yeah,
the only two that matter are Narumeha and Ghostly Flicker.
Yeah,
and then you still have the redundancy.
Drift of Phantasm's a real all-star in that deck.
And also worth noting with the Illusionist stratagem, it draws a card. So if you need to find your win con, you can just choose a land, generate infinite mana, and still be drawing cards to find your win con. So there's your Thoracle in your deck. So yeah, Narumeha, again, not the easiest setup, but a relatively easy setup at a casual level.
Yeah, which is why it's at a 7, because I think that's where we start putting like the slower combos and stuff like that.
It could justifiably be higher, but we would need to see more gameplay with it. I've only played against Narumeha like twice, so...
I mean, I played Narumeha in that Lagrella deck I made. Never found it, but I played the combos in the deck.
Alright, and with that, we've covered our Zerscale for today. Little bit of a shorter episode for everyone here, but thank you all again for joining us today. This has been the 8th episode of the Wrinkly Brain podcast. It was going to be the 7th, but then our recording software said no. We're getting pretty close to 10 episodes, which is really exciting for us. We've got something really special in mind coming up soon. I know y'all are going to enjoy it, and it's going to be really great. I can't wait to see people's reactions for our 10th episode.
Ooh.
It's a big one.
All right. Remember to like and subscribe, let us know what you think in the comments, and while you're there, you can jump onto our public Discord server and ask us those questions directly. We're always hanging out on the server and doing things like pick up games at EDH. So, this has been Jason, Logan, and Cameron. Thank you all again for listening. We'll see you next time.